Francis, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you. I know that with electricity and connectivity, it's difficult to actually connect with you. So thank you very much for your time. I wanted this opportunity to hear from you, and for any potential donors and supporters to hear from you about why you felt inspired to found your organization, the Community Initiative for Sustainable Peace organization. But even before that, Francis, why you personally were inspired to want to make a difference in South Sudan and for your people. So I'm very curious to hear why you even became involved in the pro-peace movement.
Thank you very much. The civil war in South Sudan started in 1955, and I was born in between.
So just to be clear,
Where we are.
you yourself were a refugee, or you were displaced from your home?
Yes, I've been a refugee during the first war, and that was the time I discovered the pain of war.
How old were you, and were you there with your family?
Maybe 10, maybe 7, and it was under 10. Then when the war came to an end, we came back to South Sudan. And again, after 10 years, and then the civil war again started. Now, this time, I did not go for refugee, but I became a displaced. And the conditions were very tough. I was with my sister. Of course, at the time, my father had already died. When we went to Uganda, my father had already died. My mother was in the village. Now, when we came to the second war, the second civil war that I talked about, at that time, my mother had already died. So I was totally an orphan. That was the time we felt there is need for peace.
I'm curious because I think if terrible things happen to my family and my home and my community, I think it would also be understandable if I were to become very angry and want revenge. You did this to me, now I'm going to do something to you. Something that simple. And I'm wondering why for you it's not that you wanted to take revenge and continue the cycle of violence, but that you thought that you wanted peace instead. So I'm wondering what was it in your heart, in your mind, why you felt you wanted to choose a path of peace.
Yes, you are right, and that kind of experience, can change the mentality of many people. But for me, at that time, I was already ordained a pastor, so that path, maybe joining a fighting group become impossible. And the doctrine of the church promotes peace.
I see.
In the church, that was the only institution at the time, or even at the moment, is the only institution in South Sudan which offers uh, comfort to people who are hurt, maybe by violence, by war, or by social issues. That feeling had already grown in my heart. All right. So that was why, to come to the point of establishing a CISPO become an opportunity because it works within the communities.
What was it like in 2009 when you first established the organization?
Yes. When we introduce this program, and that's the nature of humanity, something new comes in, they come in big numbers.
You had said that it feels like it's getting worse, or people are becoming more frustrated, or there's more despair. How would you describe to our audience who's never been to South Sudan, but they want to understand, what is it like there in South Sudan today?
There's conflict, of course, going on, but that's not the issue for us. The issue for us is the trauma that have been created over this period of time. They have suffered for different reasons. There are those who are suffering because they have knowledge, they need a specific message. There are those who are suffering because they have nothing. There are those who lost their loved ones. There are those who lost their properties. There are those who fell victims of social problems that are passing through. And the good thing is, I study community studies, so I understand the issues.
You want to at least provide this resource so that people don't feel abandoned.
Yes, it will now depend on who is suffering from what. And then the message will be interpreted accordingly. And then it is now up to individuals to respond or not to respond. But other people think they are responsible for their own suffering. It is now our role as a community initiative organization to offer that neutral message for them to realize.
With this oral history project, why do you think it's important or even meaningful to tell the stories, to interview South Sudanese and to hear their stories, hear their voices? Why do you think this is an important project?
It is important because, first of all, storytelling is part of our culture. That is a fact. And then, secondly, you can't understand the problem through which somebody passes through unless he or she tells you a story.
Oh, what I like about the idea of this project with you and with the South Sudanese people is the potential to empower people, to feel empowered. Like you said,
Yes.
if you feel abandoned, if you feel no one cares, but then you
Mhm.
give them an opportunity to share
Mhm.
their trauma,
Mhm.
share the pain of their journey, of their story,
Yes.
then
Mhm.
maybe psychologically and emotionally, it will make them feel, hey, at least someone cares. I was able to share my story. It was recorded. It's going to be preserved online
Mhm.
on a website, and that
Mhm.
somehow it can be some source of some empowerment, a source of power for
Mhm.
individuals. I'm wondering what you think.
Exactly.
Do you agree?
Yes.
In what way? In what
Yeah. Yes, I do. I do. And you see those women sitting down. They were listening to somebody who was narrating a story with her family, with her relatives, with her husband, with her children. So people were listening, and then some also got inspired and stood up and began to tell. So storytelling is powerful. Yeah, right? It inspires even if people try to hide, try to keep things secret. But now when hear someone narrating his or her own experience, they also feel like sharing story, and that's how things move.